this work, identify challenges and analyze situations in order to solve problems.
All right, so if you will pull out your literacy notes and the reading workbook pages from last week that were homework. You'll have those out on your desk. So again, that's your literacy notes and your workbook. Alright, so let's review what we said last week about dependent and independent clauses versus a phrase. Alright, so first question, what's the difference in a phrase and a clause? And I'm going to pick someone who has not talked yet this morning. So, Fallon. No, phrase doesn't have a clause in it. So, one of them has a subject and a predicate part, one of them doesn't. So, which one does? Has a subject part and a predicate part. So every sentence would be this thing, a phrase or a clause? Clause, okay? So a clause has to have a subject part and a predicate part. Okay, still waiting on everybody to have out your literacy notes. If I'm copying it down, you should be copying it down. About half of you are, about half of you need to go ahead and copy down what's on the screen. Please. So, question, Chloe. All phrases are clauses. Not at all, not even close. Okay, Pramita, is this right or not? All clauses are sentences.
No.
No. Lincoln, all sentences are clauses. Yes. So every sentence is a clause, but not every clause is a sentence. Because there are two kinds of clauses. They are independent clauses and dependent clauses. Would someone whose name has not been selected, and Fred's not here, so that means Mason, Kimani, or Angela, would one of you mind tell us the difference in a dependent clause and in an independent clause? The difference in a dependent clause and an independent clause. They're both subject and predicate parts. Thank you, Kimani.
Dependent clause is a question. But the independent.
But it has a subject and a predicate, doesn't it?
Yes.
What's that word we stick on the front of it that makes it dependent where you can't just say it by itself, then, Kimani? Like because, like since, like although, like when. Okay, all those are subordinating conjunctions, right? Okay, so they both have a subject and a predicate. But the dependent clause also has subordinating conjunction. So write this down in your notes. You're like, I've written it before. I know. Write it again. We are writing it again. Because we still need to work with it and practice with it. Yep. That's subordinating. Yeah. I just did that out of habit. SUB, period. That's just SUB. subordinating conjunction. And again, the independent clause can stand by itself. So it could be a sentence as is. So could the dependent clause become a sentence if I just whacked off the subordinating conjunction from it? Angelo? Yeah, it could. So a subordinating conjunction taken away from a dependent clause would turn it back into an independent clause. So then a phrase just has a group of words with a common thought, but it does not have a subject and a predicate part, okay? So just a group of words with a common thought, or they work together, such as prepositional phrases, right? On the way to school, prepositional phrase, because there's not a subject and a predicate there, right? She made the cake just in time. Just in time, not a complete subject and predicate part, so it's just a phrase. Right? There are even verb phrases, right? Right? Helping verb, main verb. Isn't that a verb phrase? Just a group of words working together, but it's not a subject and a predicate part. So there are verb phrases, there are introductory phrases, there are prepositional phrases, but you have to have the subject and the predicate part for it to be a clause. Then it's a sentence unless you put a subordinating conjunction on the front of it. All right. Page 115. Page 115 from homework. So, complex sentences. So, compound sentence is made up of two simple sentences, right? So a compound sentence, you'll jot this back down again, that is two or more independent clauses. But a complex sentence has an independent clause plus a dependent clause. And that's all, again, that we're talking about. We've been talking about it since August. That's the only difference. So on page 115, let's go through there and let's decide if it is a compound sentence, a simple sentence, or a complex sentence, and why. All right, so Zamara, number one. It says the mountains were covered in snow. Simple, compound, or complex? Simple. Yep, simple. Is there a phrase in that sentence? There are actually two. There's a verb phrase, were covered, right? Were, helping verb, covered, main verb, right? In snow is a prepositional phrase, right? But it's a simple sentence. Izzy, number two. Siri had seen snow, but he had never seen so much. Hey, why? So what's the dependent clause? Okay. So good thought. Except remember that but is a coordinating conjunction instead of a subordinating conjunction, right? So that makes it compound. That's right. So it's compound. So remember, you said it exactly right. He saw there were two clauses, so the determination was, is that second clause independent or dependent because of that word but? But if I have the word or, and, but, remember it's fanboys, right? Right? For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Right? Okay? So there you go. So that would make it compound, right? The main three are and, but, or. Alright? So that's compound. But your thinking was exactly right. You were looking for something that would be a dependent clause, but there's definitely two clauses. But they're both, in that case, independent, right? Is there... Nah, never mind. Number 3. Izzy, number 3. So read it. Don't look at what you wrote. Just read it and tell us, because you'll know.
Although I've never been to a aquarium before.
Siri.
Siri has never seen sea life in that
That's complex. Because the word although makes the first clause dependent, right? Because could I say he had been to an aquarium before? Could I just say that by itself? Yeah. When I put the word although there, you're waiting for me to say more. It leaves you wanting me or expecting me to say more things, right? Although he'd been to an aquarium before, you're like, what? Because of that word although. So that turns an independent clause dependent by just sticking that word on the front. So there's still two clauses. Putting that one word turns it from independent to dependent. Yes? You now realize. Yeah. That's exactly what I just said. Trust your instinct, right? And when you did, it was correct. Right? Remember what we said about when you take a test? Unless you are 100% positive that you realize that your initial answer was not right, go with your instinct. Unless you're sure that that's not right. So if you're not sure, you use your instinct. And your instinct there was right. All right, number 4. Number 4. So you mean you just got to know, you just kind of got to memorize prepositions and subordinating conjunctions? Yeah. Can the same word be both a preposition and a conjunction? Yep. Some words can serve in both capacities. Ashley, number 3. Number 4. Yep, complex because of that word when. Thank you. Mason, number 5. Why? Yeah. Bonus question. Can you tell me what the word very is? Adjective, adverb, pronoun, preposition. Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Exactly right. Very is an adverb. Good job. Number 6. Number 6, Courtney. Yeah, compound. What part makes you know it's compound? Because Siri was feeling adventurous, that's a clause. He didn't know where to explore, that's a clause. Why is it compound, not complex? Because it has a comma and a coordinating conjunction, but. So that's not put with a second clause. It's a separate piece, right? Yeah, so it's compound. So number 5 was simple. Number 6 was compound. So raise your hand if I were to give you a quiz on identifying compound complex. You think you could make a $100? I'm not, but you think that you could. All right. Okay, good. 116. Now, sometimes a complex sentence can be a compound complex. So what that means is there are two independent clauses and a dependent clause, right? So something like, while we look for the suitcase, that's dependent. While we look for the suitcase, Mom went to the store, comma, and Dad finished getting the house ready to leave. That's compound complex. Because I had a dependent to an independent, then I had a conjunction and another independent, right? So that's what we're talking about when we say compound complex. Number 1. Liam, number 1.
Before we visited the Blanket village, Mr. White made us breakfast and made it large. Was sweet complex compound?
Yeah, so that's compound complex. Check in your work. Because we have, before we visited the village, that's the dependent clause. Mr. White made us breakfast, that's the independent clause, comma, and another independent clause, we ate in the lodge. Right? Perfect. Nathaniel, number 2.
After we ate, we dressed in our warmest clothes, and Mr. White led us to the boat.
That's also compound complex. Now, you're usually expecting the workbook not to have the same thing twice in a row, right? Yeah, don't count on that, because that's not always going to be the case. It a lot of times is, but don't play that game. All right, number 3, Betty. Okay, so if it's compound, there would need to be punctuation, right? Remember, a compound, you have to have a comma and a conjunction. So since there's no comma there, it couldn't be compound, right? So complex. Kim was mesmerized by the seals when they swam past her. So Betty, what if I said to you, when they swam past her? You want to know what I'm talking about, right? It makes you expect that I'm going to say something else, right? Okay. So that means that's complex. So can someone remind me why there's no comma there? And it's correct not to have a comma. Pranita.
You only put a comma when there's a word in the dependent clause and the
Yep, she's been listening. So if the dependent clause is at the back half of the sentence, you don't put a comma. You only put the comma when it's the beginning of the sentence. Okay? Help me out, Melis. Number 4.
Number 4, I thought it was extremely cold. I had a great time, and I would like to do it again soon. That's a compound complex.
Yep. Now, Melis, for all the money, can you tell me how... This should say compound complex. Compound. Complex. I was thinking about what I wanted to ask you, not paying attention while I was writing. Again, people can't multitask. They think they can, but we don't do it well. All right, Melis, for all the money, what word, and it's even a letter, could be omitted from the sentence to turn it from compound complex to just complex? I could remove one word, which is literally a letter, and it would no longer be a compound complex, it would just be a complex.
Isn't it the second I?
Yeah, I. That's correct. If I remove the second I, If you remove the second I, then that's just a compound predicate, and that makes it just a complex sentence. Y'all see that? Because there would be no subject in that second part. It'd just be another predicate, right?
Can I have my money now?
Yes, I'll give you your money at the end of the period. Alright, so here it is. Let's read it and see why that makes it a complex. Though it was extremely cold, that's the dependent clause, correct? Everybody agree? I had a great time and would like to go again. See, that's just a one clause with a compound predicate because I took out that extra subject. So would that have been okay to do that there? Yeah. Why would that have not been okay in number 2? Or number 1? Why would taking out the second subject not be okay? It would be okay there. Why would it not be in number 1 or 2? Anybody can tell me why? Jayla?
Because in number 1, we're talking about 2 different subjects.
Yeah. Mr. White made the breakfast. We ate it. Right? Because if I said and ate it in the lodge, you would think that Mr. White ate all the breakfast. You could think that. So you need that second subject. What about number 2? Same thing? We dressed and then he led us to the boat. Right? So you need the second subject there for clarity in what you're talking about. It'd be grammatically correct, but it would not be clear. That's the point. All right, number 5. Help me with number 5, James Hood. Sit up, Kimani. Thank you. Number 5, James.
Him and Jack were ready to go back, but I wanted to stay on the boat. That looks like a compound sentence.
Yep, it is. Kim and Jack were ready to go back. Sentence. I wanted to stay on the boat. Another sentence connected with an and, but, or an or. Yep. Number 6. Number 6, Natalia.
Because we were on the boat all day, we were pretty tired and complex.
Yep. Dependent, independent. Number 7. Number 7. Graham.
Alright. After we returned, each one stopped talking, and Mr. White laughed at our. So, after we returned is, first of all, our dependent clause.
Yep.
And then we. So, I'm believing it's a compound complex.
And I'm believing that you're believing correct. Okay, that's right. And number 8. Number 8. Courtney. Wait, is your name already selected? Yeah. Lincoln, number 8. Bless you. Yes, please.
Couldn't wait for the next day's event,
I couldn't wait for the next day's events. I headed off to bed. So are those 2 independent clauses, or is one of them a dependent clause? Which part? I headed off to bed is dependent? Say again? But I don't use the and. That's not a subordinating conjunction. It's a coordinating conjunction. So if I don't include the and, would that be an independent clause on the end? Yes, so that's 2 independent clauses, therefore it's a compound. Okay, quickly, moving on to page 117. Combine the 2 sentences to make them more clear, but also to make them a complex sentence. Okay? Michaela. Just read me the new complex sentence that you created.
I needed help because I had never been.
Yeah. I needed help because I had never written a sled before. That's way better than those two little tiny sentences. Okay, everybody is sitting up. I know it's Monday morning. I know it's rainy. All right, number two. Number two, Kimani. Lincoln, sit up, please.
Nick went studying last year, so he taught me.
So he taught me. Yeah. Do you have to have this? No. What about number two? Since Nick went sledding last year, comma, he taught me. Could you use that? Yeah. Could I have this? Since Nick went sledding last year, comma, and he taught me. It makes sense, but does it fit the criteria of a complex sentence? No, that's a compound sentence. All right, so that would be a correct sentence, but it's not fitting the, I gotta have a complex, right? All right, Josiah, number 4.
While we were sledding, I almost fell.
Yeah. We were sledding, comma, and I almost fell off my sled. Correct sentence, but doesn't make it complex. That's compound. So number 4, while we were sledding, I almost fell off my sled. That works. That's complex. Anybody got something different for number 4 that's still complex? Anybody? Everybody use that? Yes.
I put sledding penalties.
Yeah. When is also going to work there, right? Number 5. It says to make the sentence have a dependent clause at the beginning or the end.
So I put because Nick selected it last year.
So I just need to change the word Nick and put it before the cause, right? Right? No, I'm going to put Nick with the other part, right? So because he sledded last year, comma, Nick did a great job. Like that? Yeah. I need to move Nick over with the, to be the subject of the other part so it's a clause, right? So I've got my dependent already in place. I just need to create my independent. And number 6. Number 6, Angelo. Okay, since I hit a tree, my sled was broken. Okay, could I change it another way? Could I change it because my, no, that wouldn't work. Yeah, that would work. Because my sled hit a tree, it was broken. I could do that. Yep. Correct. All right. Next page. Looking at different nouns. Different nouns. Let's go with Zamara. Tell me what the correct noun should be. Plural, singular, or possessive, plural. So singular or plural possessive or just regular plural. Alright? So that means there's going to be S's involved. But are they possessive or are they just plural? Alright, number 1. We climbed on my parents' boat for a cruise around the Prince of Wales Island. So is that plural or is it possessive? And if it's possessive, is it singular or plural possessive? So you said plural. So it's not plural because it's just the parents' boat, right? That's possessive, right? Singular possessive. Number 1, P-A-R-E-N-T apostrophe S, singular possessive. So I will tell you that some of these are going to be on a quiz soon. So make sure if you don't have them right that you're fixing them so that you don't get them wrong on a test, a quiz that will happen this week. Yeah. P-A-R-E-N-T apostrophe S. Oh, sorry. Thank you. P-A-R-E-N-T-S apostrophe. So it's plural possessive. Thank you. So number 1 should say plural possessive. P-A-R-E-N-T-S apostrophe. Now the thing is, you could argue that it was just the one parent, right? So it could be both ways, actually. Because it could just be that one parent has the boat, right? It is definitely not just regular plural. Because parent is definitely possessive to both. So if you have possessive plural or possessive singular, both would be okay. But they'd have to be written differently, right? So they got to look like this. This is possessive singular, right? This is possessive plural. Okay? Any questions, Permita?
If it was just the one parent, I'm pretty sure it would make more sense to just say my mom's boat or my dad's boat.
Yeah. You could though say that. So that would be one where you could say it. Their intent is for it to be possessive plural, but you could argue that I said, well, it's my parent, right? But you probably would say mom or dad. I agree. Number two, Josephine. Number 2.
All of the children that have the
Just regular plural, right? So how do you know it's got to be children? What word makes you know it's children? Yep, all. All lets you know it's children. So that's just regular plural. Number 3, Ashley. Singular, plural, singular possessive, plural possessive. Plural, just regular plural, right? Number 4, Mason.
Singular.
Why?
Because you don't have fishes.
But let's say I got this, that's 1 fish. What's this? 2 fish. I still use the word fish, right? So look what it says. Does it say we could see a fish swimming, or does it say something else? So that's plural. That should be plural, right? Everybody agree that should be plural? All right. So what should happen to number 5? What should happen to number 5, Kylie?
Bobby's should be apostrophe S.
So Bobby should have apostrophe S. And that apostrophe should not be on floats. Number 6, Madeline. Where should there be an apostrophe, or should there be at all? Yeah, it should be apostrophe S for Steve's. But is that the way you spell stories? Nope. S-T-O-R-I-E-S. Yeah. Okay, number 7. Number 7, Chloe.
So I kept the waves the same, and then on white caps I put that's and then on lilies I put apostrophe.
So white cap should have apostrophe S or S apostrophe? S apostrophe. And then what happens on the rest of that?
And then walls I kept the same, and then lilies I put apostrophe S.
So are we sure about walls? Should walls have an apostrophe? Or should it just be regular plural? Okay, so let's write that one out. The waves, apostrophe, wispy, white, caps, whack, the walls, of Willie's whaler. Okay, so we should change the waves to S apostrophe. White caps needs to be gone because this is regular plural. So no to that. Whack the walls, no to that one. Of Willie's, it's in the wrong place. That should be W-I-L-L-Y apostrophe S. Okay? So will you write that one in your book? Everybody write that one in your book. Write that one out in your book, please. And obviously, thank you for persevering through boring workbook review pages. Alright, so we're going to quickly go through page 119, then we're going to play Quiz It Live to practice for the spelling test this afternoon. The vocab test. Okay, number 1, Fallon. Let's turn all that into one new sentence. So I'm thinking adding when or since or because and but and or and some of that stuff will help us out, right? Yeah. So could we do this? When he comes in from the snow, comma, that's dependent clause, we should make a fire and heat some soup. That's just a complex sentence, right? Or, here's a compound complex. When he comes in from the cold, comma, we should make a fire and we should heat some soup. Now that's compound complex, right? Because I left the extra subject in. Who did something like that? Did something like that? Who did not do something like that? All right. So number 2, Izzy. Okay. Could do that. What about this? When we have dinner. Excuse me, after we have dinner, we'll play a game and go to sleep, or we'll go to sleep. So yeah, those will all work. What you said would also work. Okay, number 3. Number 3, Jayla.
I can, so we can add wood to the fire, we need to do it,
Because I can't carry it. Yeah. Right? That works. Melis?
I said we can add wood to the fire, but you will need to get it, and I can't carry it.
Right, that works too. Yep. Yep.
We can add wood to the fire, but you will need to get it because I can't carry it.
That's good. We can add wood to the fire, comma, but you will need to get it because I can't carry it. So that's a compound complex, right? That would probably be the way I would want to do it. I think that's the best way to fix it. I definitely don't want any of us writing those little first grade choppy sentences, right? Chloe, number 4.
The dogs are hungry, we should feed them, and then we should brush them.
Okay, so the dogs are hungry and we should feed them. Then we should brush them. What do you think? Yeah, I like that too.
The dogs are hungry. We should feed and brush them.
Okay, that works.
Actually, since the dogs are hungry, we should
All those work. Graham?
The dogs are hungry, so we should feed and brush them.
Yep, that works too. Number 5, I.
They have work to
Since they have worked all day,
The dog should rest.
that's good. Yeah. Since they've worked all day, comma, the dogs should rest and we should leave them alone. Yep.
Since they work all day, should we
Yep. Also works.
We should leave the dogs alone because they have worked all day and they should rest.
Yeah. All works.
They have worked all day, so the dogs should rest and we should leave them alone.
She put her dependent clause after the first part. Works.
Because they rest all day,
We should leave them alone and let the dogs rest.
All those are good. They're all way better than what was on here, right? That's the point. That is the point. All right. Let's get ready to play Quizlet Live. Before we do that, if you will please put this in your desk. All right, don't have to tell me twice about that. I will happily put that thing away. Put this in your desk. All right, and also have your iPad out on Quizlet, vocab number 15. And I want you to study by yourself for just a minute, so you're not that kid that gets one wrong on your team in just a minute. Okay, study over your words again. And I know it's not the first time you're looking at them. It's your umpteenth millionth time. Hyperbole, free reading. Okay, do a by yourself study on Quizlet, please, and then we'll go live in just a few minutes. We'll be going live in just